This is a game that was played in 2016 between Gotikamsky from America and Hikaru Nakamura from America. This, let me go back one move through the this and this. Looks like the same positions. So e4 is generally considered to be the best move, I think, even in modern times. But we got 95 playing the game. Bruh, how can you remember that? It just happens. Sometimes when you play chess your whole life, you remember things like that. So that's actually pretty funny. The board are different colors. Yes, that's chess games. But anyway, 95 is not the best move. E4 is considered a little bit better. Stage, good memory. No, I mean, you really think that I'm actually... I'm you know, now that Kansas is over, I can be a little bit more honest and open with people. I'm gonna tell you guys, I played in the I played with Levy in the team event a while back, probably like 5 months ago. We played in this tandem team event, and at some point I asked Levy some question about an opening, and he mentioned a top GM game, and I said something along the lines of, well, surely you didn't look at that game. It was like, Levy was like, no, of course I looked at that game. So Levy was actually looking at those games, looking at top games quite clear. This is not a recording, you guys. We will make a video out of this anyway, because obviously we have to now. But the point was that I basically assumed that Levy, as a streamer, doesn't actually spend his time looking at the top level games, and Levy in fact did actually look at top level games. So a lot of people were like, why is Hikaru being so rude to him? And I wasn't actually being rude to Levy. The reason I was saying is because, of course, I don't look at games that often. Honestly, if I'm streaming, I don't look at chess that much. So like, I don't look at games very frequently, and that's why, of course, I've not seen this game before. So back to the game. We get queen c7, f4 here. Now this is actually also something I would say about the London system, which is that once you get this position in the middle game, a lot of times people with the white piece, they try to stick this horse on e5 and then follow it up with f4. Now I also think that, if I'm not mistaken, it was played in another game in Reykjavik not so long ago. Let me see if I can find that game, where I think there was a game that my wife played actually against let me see if I can find it. Reykjavik Open 2024, and I think that might have been this position. Let me see if I can find it. Reykjavik Open chess.com. Let me find it if I can. Let's pull this up. Let's see, games round 8. Maybe it was was it round 8? I think it was. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, round 8. Let's take a look at this game actually, because here's another game. Let's see, was this actually a position they had in that game? Okay, a little bit different here, with the difference being that the pawn was on b6 and the bishop was on g3 in that game. Whereas like you see like the Botez one, if we go back here, you'll see that the bishop is on g3 and black has played b6. But the same concept of this knight e5 happens a lot, where people get really excited about trying to overprotect the knight, whether it's with f4 or whether it's with a knight df3 idea. So unsurprisingly, when we take a look at the game between the Botezes, Andrea gets overly optimistic and puts the pawn on f4. Of course, you can also talk about the memes. We have the Great Pyramid of Giza here. You have the pawn to pawns guarding each other and the knight overprotecting. You also have a bit of a Jackson setup here with or not Jackson, the Stonewall setup with the pawns on d4, e3, and f4, knight on e5. But generally, London players get really excited and optimistic about sticking this horse on e5 if they can, and more often than not, it's actually a mistake. So we get f4, takes and g6, which I guess is okay. Honestly, normally when your opponent tries to put the knight on e5 in the London, you usually want to play around these light squares in the center of the board. So what you try to play for is like knight e7. Let's say you get bishop b7 and something like knight to e4 followed by knight to f5, and these knights are very well placed in the center of the board. You have this nice diagonal here. It's closed a little bit, but it also blunts the power of this light square b. So normally when your opponent in the London tries to set up the Stonewall Jackson setup with the pawns and the knight, you try to play around it and play on these two light squares in the center of the board if possible. So we get takes and now g6, and I think this is actually a good spot to stop in the game before we get too deep into the weeds. And computer says this position is equal here. Now, I'm not sure what to make of this position. Personally, I really don't know who is better here, and this is exactly what Casablanca Chess is going to be, which I play in basically 2.5 weeks with Magnus Carlsen and Vishy Anand and Amin Bassam, where we get a middle game position and we start from that position and play. So I'm going to ask my mods to try and figure this out, how to do this, but we'll do a view arena from this current position, and we'll do it for about 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes might be a little bit better, but that's the point. So basically, when I go to Morocco to play with Vishy, Amin Bassam, and Magnus Carlsen, right before the game. We might get 10 minutes before the game, but we get some middle game position and we just start playing from that position. So positions should be equal. Now I don't know what their criteria is. Obviously there will be GMs who make the decisions about what positions we play, but that is what we're going to be doing. What I think about Tyler 1's improvement, I made a tweet about this for a very specific reason, which is that chess is changing, and whether we look at the levels of, say, beginner level players like Tyler or people who are more advanced like young kids very specifically, the fact is the game is changing, and the improvement ability, the possibilities to improve are far greater than they were before the before the pandemic, I should say. So I would say that, to me, my perspective was centered around a couple of things. It was centered around two things. First of all, the fact that growing up, certain things were possible and not possible. Now, keep in mind, we're talking like 2020. We're talking mostly pre-pandemic, but I would say essentially from like when I started in, like, let's just say 1997 to about like 2015-ish, I never saw people improve the way that you're seeing online. And I'm not even referring just to Tyler 1, there are other people too. But basically my perspective is based on what my career of like growing up being in the chess world, and mostly from the pre-pandemic time. So that's the first thing that has to be kept in mind. But the second thing that's very important is that I'm seeing people everywhere now have these massive improvements. So you're seeing people like, I wrote a tweet the other day because I was basically in Vancouver. I went out with a friend of mine who's a pretty good player, like a master level player, and he's been coaching someone who's been helping him a little bit. And he's been coaching this guy, and then we go to dinner and we're just talking general chess, and I ask the guy, like, what's your rating? I'm expecting to hear like, okay, some like 1600 rating, and then the guy tells me he's 2200. The guy tells me he's 2200 at Blitz, and I'm like, wait a second. So I asked him if he played over the board. It's like, I played like a couple of rapid events, but I've never played classical chess over the board. Okay, so I'm gonna go queen f3 here in this game, bishop f2, and so things are changing tremendously. And there's also, I think, a streamer, Jules Gambit, who also I think started very low, and her rating is somewhere around like 1900 over the board, and she didn't play classical chess, I don't think, before the pandemic either. So like the world is changing a lot, and I would say that what we view right now as being amazing and spectacular, whether it's Tyler 1, whether it's other people, is going to slowly become the norm. I think we're gonna be like, okay, well, that's normal, that's expected, versus it being a situation where we're like odd. I think the world of chess is changing tremendously, and I would also say the reason I've mentioned this on a separate topic is that what was I gonna say? I was gonna say is that there are all these kids who are getting really good at these very young age, like Faustino or Yigis Kant or Dogmas and many others who are like 10, 11, 12, 13. They're like becoming incredible. I don't think black is better in this position, by the way, because I have the pyramid of Giza here, but they're becoming really good at very young age, and a lot of top players I think are struggling to understand how the world of chess has changed and how the game is much different now than it was before the pandemic. So to me, I think all these things are going to we're going to continue to have people getting really good at young age. I've also messed this up, by the way. We're going to continue to have people getting really good at young years. It's not about determination and grit. No, it's not. It's purely, actually, what I would say about it is pure time. It's purely about the amount of time that you put in. That's it. And that's also, I'm going to be honest, I think that's going to take away some of the mystique of chess, because, you know, one of the reasons kids improve so much quicker than adults do is because they literally spend every waking hour playing the game. That's the simplest reason that kids improve quicker than adults, because adults, generally speaking, have a lot of like other things they have to do all the time. You have other priorities, versus kids who can just play nonstop. And so like it's not actually that crazy when you think about how much time he's spending on it, but on the other hand, you would say it's going to take away some of the mystique and the sheen of the game, because it's already proving what those of us in the chess world know, which is, to a certain point, it's purely about just pattern recognition and subconsciously having those patterns get stuck in your mind. So like, I mean, on the one, it's great, but also I think some people will be like, wait, what the heck? So it's purely about how much time you put in, then it's not actually such a great game. But to each their own, I would say. To each their own. Okay, back to the game. We have b5 here. Now we are playing 5 minutes, and the reason I'm playing 5 minutes is I want to explain much more about what I'm doing in these games. He goes b5. He wants to go b4. I think I need to play in the center of the board and put pressure on the pawns on f4 and d5. Are older players jealous? I think it's not about jealousy. I think that a lot of the elite players simply do not realize how different the game of chess is now than it was before the pandemic. I think that's really what it comes down to. And for me, I've been at the heart of it because like I've played these kids online. I'll give you a great example. You look at Buddy Pranav. He's a kid that I was playing in like 2019. Good player, very, very good blitz player. I mean, I already knew he was going to be a GM back then, but very, very good blitz player. But he's sitting on like a 2400 rating or something, and he's now a 2600 plus player. In fact, I actually played him in a competitive game in Doha in Qatar last October, I think it was. So I've seen it firsthand how these kids are improving, and the reality is the game is just much different now. The access that people have is far greater, whether it's Chessable, whether it's online videos, whether it's chess.com and all the videos they have. There's just so many ways to get better, and then you can just go online and play a game very quickly. So that's just the reality. Yeah, I mean, chess has changed tremendously. I think a lot of the top players do not realize that. Now we're gonna play like Michael Tal here. I think. Can I play like Michael? Oh no, I can't play like Michael Tal because then he takes and he's got I've got problems after this because the file opens. I don't have a good position here. I'm gonna go h3 takes and bishop e3, but his king is a little bit weak. Maybe on the king side, the pawn's a little bit weak here, and we'll see what I can do. It's still somewhat unclear. Yeah. Let's play bishop e3 with the idea of bishop h6 here. These kids might burn themselves out by playing quicker, maybe. Now this is getting very murky here. I don't want to go bishop h6. I'd really love to take the juicer. There's knight e3 though. Tough position to play. I think I'm gonna play I'm gonna go knight f1 to guard the bishop here. I'm still trying to put pressure on the center of the board. Maybe I really want to sack something if I can. I guess I'll pre-move this in case he takes. I didn't get put into a game that you didn't join the arena, I don't think. Or there's an odd number. I mean, it's possible it's an odd number. I'm gonna go here, try to keep the B's on the board here. I'm still aiming for a bishop h6, maybe knight e3 to remove the defender. Okay, let's go knight e3 here, get rid of the horse, and then go for the checkmate. Why not bishop takes knight and then check? Very good question. If I were to take after queen takes, it would be a check on my king. My king would be in check here, so I would be unable to move the bishop to h6 because of this check on the diagonal. That's why I didn't do it. Very, very good question. Now this is a mistake. So now I take, and now something bad I think is going to happen. Maybe it's not actually a mistake, but I think I'm going to play. I think I'm going to go here. I'm going to try to win this horse or win this pawn, because this bishop still needs to guard against the mate threat towards my king. Very, very good question, actually. Very good question. So, all right. Why not just take the pawn? Because it's guarded twice by the bishop and the queen. That's why. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. This is going to be a little bit more instructive. That's why I'm doing 5-0 versus 3-0. But yeah, so anyway, no, I mean, there are many people who have improved. Many people who've gotten much better during the pandemic, and I think we see it across all levels now. It's like, again, like if you told me when I was growing up, a kid who's 12 years old would be a GM, I would have been nah, you're joking. It's not possible. Impossible. All these things would be impossible. But the world has changed, and like I've had to shift my perspective too, because I actually had the same perspective as a lot of top players for a while, which is like you see these things happen, it's like it's not possible, it just can't happen. But the game is changing, and I think the sooner that the elite players learn that the game is changing and they accept that, the better off things will be, instead of assuming that everybody is cheating. And so if bishop f4 played here, now I could take on f5. I could also take the horse on h5. I think I'm going to take the horse because I'm guarding this horse. I can take here with check. If I take here with check, he can't really take the bishop guards. He's going to slide back. I'm wondering if I can hit him with rook e7 maybe and try to go for the kebab and a checkmate on the 7th rank here, potentially. It's not really clear what's going on here. Very, very unclear. 3,300. Let's go. I think we're good with blitz for the day, but I got my rating back over 32, which is definitely a good start. That's a good start. Now the move that I want to play is rook to e7, but I realize there is a very, very slight problem, which is after rook b2. Can I go king a1? I think the problem is after takes. If I take, he sacks the rook. I take, and then he takes this bishop, takes this knight on f5. So I'm going to slide the king out of the way here to a1. I'm still threatening to mate him on h7, and there's no take here, so he's gonna have to sack the queen, and then I'm gonna fork him and take the rook. I think it's still very unclear actually, but I think I'm good. Very, very complicated position here. I take, I fork him, and I take. He has a check, and I slide the king over to hit the rook. Takes. Assume I can take here to hit the rook. Go here because I still have queen h8. But if I check, he comes up and I eat the juicer. He has a check to fork the king and the rook. I think rook f1 is the correct move to go for checkmate, because c2 I just take and there's no rook here to be captured. Rook f2. Wow. Maybe I, oh wait, I can't go rook e1 because then he mates me with bishop f5. Ooh, wow, this is still very tricky. I might not be winning here, oddly enough. Probably I am, because I can just take and go check and queen f4 to win the pawn. I don't know if this is winning. That was a very, very tricky game. Very tricky game. Not gonna lie, if I got beaten by these kids and I'm 37 like Knock, I'd be pretty pissed. Well, that's probably the difference between me and a lot of other top players. Here I'm gonna go bishop f2 to dodge this knight h5 right away, and then just g3 to create the pyramid. I guess he's gonna go for bishop a6, try and put the horse or get rid of this really nice light square b potentially, but we'll see. I mean, yes, top players can be annoyed, but that's the problem with chess actually, is that top players think they're these great geniuses and they have this massive ego, and it's a huge problem, because when your ego is through the roof and you think you're God, then you stop living in reality. That's the problem. Okay, I'm gonna take with the f pawn. It's a big mistake here, by the way, because now black has this very naked king on g8. There's no bishop to guard. You create the fianchetto structure on the king side, but no bishop. So yeah, goes knight e8. Now I'm gonna go bishop e3 with the idea of bishop h6, because again, he's created this massive weakness. There's no bishop in the sniper's nest anymore, as Fuseli would say all those years ago. Go here, trying to put a lot of pressure. Okay, you get rook e8. Now what I'm going to do here is I would love to get a lolly mate or a lobster pincer, but this knight is always going to f5, so I'm going to play this move g4 to take away squares, and I just have a very simple idea of going queen f3 and queen f6, and the knight can't jump anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think that the reason that for me it's not a big deal, like with the perspective thing at this point, is because like I'm sort of at peace with the world, the world that I live in, sort of the chess world that I live in. I'm kind of at peace with it all, and like, I mean, I want to play the candidates maybe 1-2 more cycles, but like even if I don't get there, I'm happy with what I've done. And it's like, you know, the fact is time moves on, life moves on. There are going to be kids who become much better than like the current crop of top players. That's just reality. Time never stops. You know, it's like Roger Federer was the best tennis player for so long, and then well, maybe it's so long, it's a little bit generous, but you know, for probably a good 5-6 years nobody could compete with him, and then first it was Nadal who finally figured him out, and then it was Djokovic who figured him out. And it's just like, that's just how life is. It's time never stops. Okay, so I take the horse here. I don't know why I sacked the horse, maybe it was an accident, but yeah, you have to live with the reality. You know, you have your peak, you know, when you're your absolute best, and you're not always going to be there, and there are going to be people who become better than you. That's just the reality. Okay, I'm gonna go queen f6 here, because now if he trades the queens, his horse is actually stuck. The horse has no square to jump to, as he'll be captured by a pawn, and there are no other squares available on either e6 or e8. Goes queen f8. Now I'm just going to move this knight here. I want to put it in the center of the board. I have a very dominant position with this bishop and the queen here, and on top of being up a piece. I'm gonna go rook f4, go for the classic legendary triple stack, and try to break through on the file here. Is this tournament Casablanca private FIDE tournament? Because I'm in Casablanca, I don't know if it's possible to watch the tournament or not. It's not a FIDE event. It's not a FIDE event. It's being organized by private individuals. I think one of the big sponsors, I think I can say this, even if I can't, whatever, it's still a good thing, is the stock exchange of Morocco. I think on one of the days we're supposed to go to the stock exchange and like ring the opening bell. At least that's what I was told. So it's not a FIDE event, no. Which reminds me, where did we finish on the day, by the way? I didn't look. We ended up green. Okay, so Jerome saved us. Oh, what did Jerome say today? What did Jerome say? Jerome said something. Yeah, we're up bigly. We're up bigly today. fact, one of my biggest positions is up another 11% today. Nice. It's always good when you can make like 200% in 3 months. We have rook e7 here. What do I want to play? I could go bishop b5. I could also go bishop c4 maybe. Let's see. Maybe I'll play h4, h5. A lot of ways to win this position. I'm gonna go bishop b5 first to hit the rook on d7. Bishop g6 he just takes with the h pawn. It's probably okay. I could have gone bishop c4 to undermine the chain from f7 and e6 too. So anyway, it's a private event. Yeah. No more coffee. Oh well. I mean, it probably was one way to win, but I don't want to give. Normally, actually, I'll give you a great example. You can be flashy here and sacrifice the bishop. There's nothing wrong with it per se, but in this position, if you do the count, I have 2 bishops and a knight. He has a bishop and a knight, so I have an extra bishop here. So when you go for a big sacrifice, it's not necessary. It's kind of like, you know, in the NBA when you have someone going for the slam dunk because it's super flashy versus like laying the ball in. Like when I'm up a piece here, there's no need to go for a sacrifice. When if I just trade down the pieces and find straightforward plans, I'm going to win the game 100% of the time. Like, why go for the slam dunk when you can lay it up and always score? Okay, I'm gonna go bishop c4 now to hit the rook. Something has to collapse on these 2 diagonals here. Thoughts on the NBA playoffs? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very happy about game 5 yesterday. I mean, very unhappy the Knicks messed it up. Very unhappy the Knicks messed it up. They should have won the series. They should have finished it off, and they didn't. So I still think the Knicks are going to win, but I'm not very happy about it. I'm actually following hockey a lot more closely, to be honest, because all the teams that I've liked in hockey over the years are somehow, well, I guess one of them's not into the second round, but both the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers are in the second round, and the Vancouver Canucks are likely going to be in the second round, although they did lose game 5. So yeah, I'm actually following hockey a lot closer than basketball at the moment. The Avalanche, I mean, I never really was a huge Avs fan. I've followed them on and off, but I've never been like a huge Avs fan. So it's kind of like, yes, but I have followed them too. So okay, let's take the rook here on d5. Okay, now here I'm simply up a rook. Nah, I've never followed the Kings. I mean, the only way I would have followed the LA Kings is like if I was big on hockey in like the 90s, like back when they had Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille. I could have maybe followed, but like I never really got into it. Okay, so I'm up a rook here, but it's a closed position. He's trying very hard to hold the pawn on f7. So now I have to come up with some ideas. Now I could obviously just trade, which again, getting back to the basics of basketball, using basketball as our metric. When you're way ahead of material, it's not a bad thing to trade down the pieces to ensure that there are less pieces on the board for your opponent to try and mount an attack with. So I'm actually just going to trade it down here because I have an extra tower. It's better to go for the layup than to go for the slam dunk, as we say in basketball. So anyway, let's keep going. But he's 800. Yes, you guys, but this is not about me playing 800, because of course I know I'm playing 800. I could meme all I want and win no matter what I do. But the point is that trading down feels similar to running the clock out when you're ahead. That's another example. There are 2 examples are going for a slam dunk versus a layup and running the clock down where you just eat up the 24-second shot clock the whole way. Both are applicable. Both are applicable. But the point is that not so much because I can win this game pretty much no matter what I do against an 800. It's more to give you guys something that you can actually find useful in your own games. Like that's the thing. Like, yes, of course I can do anything and win this game, but that's not the point of the arena. Because then why do the arena at all? That's what the disrespect speedrun is for. I'm gonna go knight b5 and knight d6 here, hook the horse on d6 and use the 2 towers. Actually, first things, no, actually I'll go here. So he plays f5, I can go for end peasant and win the rook on e7. Am I looking forward to Norway chess? I would say that as far as Norway chess goes, oh look, we get end peasant, the famous French move, the glitch move. Let's take the rook, and now many ways when I'm just gonna go check. I'll sack the horse so I can ice skater or ladder him. He's not letting me ladder him. I'll go c4. How rude. Take the bishop. Key here is just to not stalemate the king. So I'm just going to capture the juicers here and ignore everything. Because as long as it's very important that I leave some pawns on the board here, because this way there will never be a stalemate. Okay, so now I have black against 2300 draining water high. Now this is a tricky position to figure out. Very, very tricky. Okay, so what do we do here? First time I have black. I have black in this position. Knight h5 to me feels correct. And the reason it feels correct is because it's kind of a tough position. White has this massive grip on the center. White's got this massive grip. I feel like I need to get rid of the bishop, or I need to push a pawn. I need to dislodge this horse at all costs. So I think knight h5 is actually a good move here. Puts pressure on the bishop and the pawn. It also frees me up to push in the center of the board with f6 and e5. I'm first but only get 200s. You should be getting players around your rating range. So yeah, back to Norway chess. Am I looking forward to? I always look forward to playing in Norway chess. Queen g4 is a good move, by the way, because now f6, I think he can sack the horse and something terrible is going to happen. So I like this queen g4 move. I could play f5 here to close the diagonal. In fact, I'm going to do it, and the reason I'm going to play f5 is I close the long diagonal here. I put a pawn wall, but also when I trade on e5, I get the pawns on f5. So now when I take, you'll understand this pawn is on f5 versus f7. So after takes here, if the pawn were on f7 and I try to push, he has end peasant. But because I push first and then captures, there's no end peasant here. Did it just start in the middle position? It did. And actually the reason we did it, you guys, we took a position from the recent game played between Botez and Botez, but secondarily we did it because in a couple of weeks I'll be playing this tournament in Casablanca, Morocco. It's called Casablanca Chess. It features the 5-time world champions Magnus Carlsen, Vishy Anand, the famous streamer Hikaru Nakamura, and the #1 player from Africa, Amin Bassam. And what they do with Casablanca Chess is they come up with a position in the middle game, say move 15, where it's considered to be equal, play for both sides, and you start playing from that position. So you don't know what the position is ahead of time. Maybe you get it like 10 minutes before the game starts, but you don't actually know what the position is. Now I'm going to go here to stop c4 so that I hit the queen on f3. So I'm preparing you sort of. I mean, I figure it's just a good concept. I think the concept is good. The only issue with the concept is how do you come up with the positions. Now they have a team, I think, of 3 or 4 people. One of the players is the famous Moroccan GMHikaru. So like they have a group of people who come up with the positions, and it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. You're too smart, bro. Who, me? No, you guys, fun fact, but chess players are not geniuses. That's probably one of the last remaining things that I'm going to be honest that I know it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd love to break that image, because it's just not true. Everyone's like, oh, you play chess, you're so smart, you're a genius, la-di-da-di-da. The reality is chess players are smart in certain ways, but they're not geniuses the way that everyone tries to make them out to be. And it's also funny because whenever Elon Musk, I mean, there are many things I dislike about Elon, of course, but whenever he tweets about chess and he says it's simplistic, or, you know, he doesn't like it, I think the main reason for that is specifically because of what I just said, where I think he's actually probably been around certain former world champions, probably doesn't like their attitude, and he feels like they come off as being geniuses, and that's why he's so negative on the game. But a lot of players don't like it when Elon says that, but I think there's a reason he does. Okay, let's trade the bishops. Now what I want to do here is the king side's kind of locked here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play rook d8. Now this is a prophylactic, this is a prophylactic move, I should say. The idea is, in case white goes c4, I can trade the pawns and play on the open file here. So this rook is here to basically prepare if white goes c4. The other rook on f8 is in case white tries to play here. So this rook prepares for c4, and the rook on f8 prepares if white tries to open the f file. So that's why I put the rooks on these 2 squares. All right, I think I'm gonna go, this knight on h5 is not great, so I'm gonna try to go h6 g5 and hook the horse on f4. That's my idea. I get the same idea when I see Elon saying that. I think that's the reason he says it, is I think that he just doesn't like that the chess players, I don't know whether they come off that way or whether that's the public perception, but I think that's the reason he's so negative, is because like he's probably met Gary and a few others, and he's like, what are these guys like? They're great at moving the piece, they're probably great at memorizing, but that doesn't make them an actual genius. So that's my general takeaway for anybody who's wondering. General takeaway. Yeah. General viewpoint. So, all right. Queen g5 is played here. Now I'm going to trade. I don't really want to trade the queens, but I guess I'll trade and go rook here. And I still want to push h6, just kick this horse out of town. The setup for the arena is amazing. I'm learning a ton. I think it's a pretty good concept. I don't know how easy it's going to be to do it. Like, we got lucky because the game that I looked at actually had a very unique position that's not really straightforward. Now, knight h3 is a very nasty move because white wants to go bishop e2 and take the horse and then jam the horse on f4. So he wants to get rid of this horse, go here, takes, and then stick his horse on f4. So I have to be cognizant of that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back. So if he tries to remove the horse, I go back. And then when he puts the horse here, I can kick him with g5. Spatial memory of chess player is very good. Well, of course it is. It's incredible. Yeah, of course. It's of course spatial memory is very good. Anyway, all right. At g3. Okay, now I'm gonna go h6 to play g5. I still have the square available, and I go g5 to kick the horse before he gets the bastion. Okay, I trade the horses, and now again white still doesn't have c4 necessarily, but I'm gonna over prepare for this pawn push. The rooks are now on the 2 lanes, and I'm probably gonna go a6 b5. I do not have a Tesla. I'm gonna go here on king e7, try to bring the king closer. Now he really is trying hard to force c4, and so I'm going to switch back to push p with f4. I'm going to force him to go back to stop the pawn push, and now I need to come up with an idea. How do I come up with a concept? And then I'm going to go a6 here. When am I going to do the Joe Rogan podcast? He has my number. He can give me a call. He has my number. If he wants me on, he knows how to reach me. I'm going to go b5 here to stop c4. And I'll reroute my bishop. I think I need to start playing on the king side. So I'm gonna try to start playing over on this side of the board if I can. Like, I think I'm gonna go h5 here and rook g8, maybe king d8. Actually, I think I'm gonna go here and then slide the other tower over. Bro, you serious? Serious about what? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go here, I guess, so I can take, and I really just want to swing the rook over. I want access for this tower to swing over this side of the board. I'm gonna go here to guard the pawn. I can still stack the doubles. Have I tried go? I have, but I'm just not very good. Let's take and go rook g7. Now I've got the double stack, pressure on the pawn. I might try to start playing on this side of the board now too. Like, I think I'm gonna go a5 here. I'm really trying to play on all sides. I'm trying to be a universal player here. Like, I'm trying to go this way. I'm trying to play on all sides, but he is defending this very, very well. The minority attack. No. What is my ultimate goal in chess these days? I don't have an ultimate goal, honestly. I mean, I would say if you ask me what my goal is simply to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't have a set goal anymore. I'm wondering if I can sack a rook somehow. I'd love to sack a rook, but I don't think I can. If only I could walk this king up the board. I guess I'll go here. I'm going to probably reroute my rook now to the other side again. This is very, very tough. Minority attack, yes. Like those, yeah. Anyway. Now I still want to swing the rook over, because if he takes, he loses still. Like, this rook... These rooks are spying the pawn, so I think what I want to do is eventually I want to swing the rook. But how do I need the optimal construction here. Like, I can't quite get the optimal construction, but I think I'm gonna go here, pressure the pawn, and now I think I have rook g4. Takes. Okay, I have rook h8 here. I also have rook h7. I think I'm gonna go for the swing setup where I swing back and forth. I do have rook h8, but then he has bishop g4 to guard the tower, so I guess I'll take a check. Let's go here. Oh, I should put the rook on g7 first. He's defending this very well. I'll just flag him. Maybe, no, you know what? I'll give him a draw. He defended this well. I'll give him a draw. I'll give him a draw. He defended it well enough. I'll give him a draw. It's not rated. Who cares? Okay, let's go back. That was a hard fought game. He defended that very well. Imagine if a billionaire gave Dingler a huge amount to withdraw from defending the title. I mean, I guess theoretically that could happen, but I doubt it. Also, speaking of chess in the World Championship, The world championship is they're asking for $8.5 million to organize the world championship, which I think frankly is obscene, actually obscene. Wanting a budget of 8.5 million for the world championships is just crazy. Okay, I guess my opponent got disconnected. Okay, let's go bishop f2 again. How to not have an ego in chess. If you want to know why I don't have an ego very much anymore, I'll tell you exactly what it was. For me, it was sort of it was frankly the fans, as the sort of the people who came to chess, the fans, as well as the financial stability that I have from streaming. That's what's really helped me kind of just like chill the fridge out and just not worry so much. I have watched AlphaGo. Yes, that's the one with Lisa Dahl and Demis Hassabis. Deep mind. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the queen here now. I want to bring the rook over. I do want to try to attack on this side of the board because, again, black's missing the fianchetto bishop on g7 here. Let's go here, target the horse. Did your rating improve after streaming? It did, because first of all, I was at an all-time low at the time. This is a blunder, by the way. He walked into a pin, and now I can take. If he takes with the horse, he loses the queen. Takes with the queen, he loses the horse. But I would say it's because I was already a little bit deflated at that time, but then secondarily, I think I very much understood how to use the psychology to my advantage. And by psychology, what I mean is that, you know, I think there is a thing, and Levy doesn't know how to. Why would better finance lower your ego? Because you're not in the same dog eat dog cutthroat situation you are before. So like, I'll give you guys an honest example. Like you know, let's say you're a top 10 player in the world. Let's say you're a top 20 player in the world, and this is of course pre-pandemic, things have changed, but you're a top 20 player in the world. Let's just say you're number 9 to 10 in the world ish, around there. And you have a bad run of tournaments. Your income can basically go from something like $300,000 down to like 100,000 if you don't get the invites, or lower even than 100. So because of that, like, you're always stressed, you're always worried. It's all very, very result driven, and because of that, it makes your play worse. I do believe that very, very strongly. So that's why, like, when people say financial, it's because then like you can kind of enjoy the game more. Like when I play chess now, I enjoy the games immensely. Like I just enjoy playing the game. So like when I enjoy playing the game, I'm not stressed out about like, okay, I can't afford to lose the game. I must not lose the game at all costs. It'll cost me like 3 spots on the rating list. Like, you have all these bad thoughts in your mind that that really they really affect you negatively. Now I'm gonna go rook e1 here, maybe g4 and f5 just to push an attack here. Let's go g4. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would say about the topic broadly. Now back to the other point I was going to make. There is a thing, I think it's probably not as relevant now as it once was, but you have to remember that I do believe there is this thing called the streamer buff. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that I think all of us who were streaming during the pandemic, at some point during the pandemic, I'm not gonna say every top player is watching Twitch, but I think at some point during the pandemic, pretty much anybody who was a serious chess player probably was watching chess on Twitch at some point between 2020 and 2022. They were probably watching. And I think that for the streamers who are streaming, there's this thing where if you watch someone and then you see them in person, it's just different. It's just different because I think the perspective of how you view them, it shifts somewhat. And I definitely believe that's true for myself. I think in some cases with Botez too. The only person who I think has been unable to use that to their advantage is Levi Roseman, who I think for Levy, it's because instead of sort of just like enjoying it and not having expectations, I think for Levy, he suddenly feels this massive expectation because of the audience. So it's like Levy goes the exact other way, where he feels this massive expectation, so that he feels this massive pressure, and he doesn't have the streamer buff added to his repertoire the way that other people do. Okay, I'm gonna go check here, pin, basically fork the king and the queen and win the game. No, his channel does well, but what I'm saying is I think for Levy, instead of actually being free to play his best chess, I think for Levy, he feels this massive pressure. Because another thing Levy does that like I don't generally do is he pins the negative comments. Now he pins a very negative comment on his channel on every video, which is just his thing. That's fine. But when you do that, that means that you're actually seeing the comments. And when you're seeing the negative comments, then I think you start feeling this pressure. You feel this expectation to try and perform really well, and then when you don't, you get stressed, everything goes wrong, and it's tough to deal with. Bologna, Hikaru, what's Bologna? What's Bologna? No, I do believe the streamer buff is a legit thing. I go check and this should be checkmate. Next move. I know Bologna is spaghetti. I know Bologna is also a city in Europe, right? I mean, I'm not saying Levy would be a GM, but I definitely feel like when I look at Levy, for whatever reason, he feels this massive pressure. He feels this massive pressure, and that pressure affects him very negatively. I still don't think he'll probably get to GM objectively, even if he gets rid of that. But if he gets rid of that alone, honestly, not feeling the pressure, I would say where Levy's at, like low 23s, is probably worth at least a good 30 to 40 points. Legitimately, I think if he gets rid of it, it's worth like 30, 40 points. I'm gonna go bishop b7. Oh, I'm playing Casablanca. This guy's username is Casablanca. Okay, that's actually really funny. Let's play rook e1. He might be the wealthiest I am. No, not even close. But anyway, okay. It says Casa. It's not Capablanca. It's Casablanca. So again, I'm looking to push f6 or f5 here. I've got to do something in the center because I really am lacking in space here. I mean, my pieces just have no oxygen. Both these bishops, they're walled in. Like the pawns here are in the way of this light scope. This bishop is blocked in by the pawns and the horse. So lack of oxygen for the bishops means I need to do something in the center of the board. Okay, I'm gonna go f5 and try to put this knight on e4 this time. Something different. Last time I tried to trade here, but this time I'm gonna try to put a horse in the center of the board. I'm gonna try to put a horse here and use my own Stonewall Jackson. This is a tournament he was waiting for. Exactly. I didn't go knight f6. He would have traded his bishop for the knight. So I'm gonna try to put these knights in the center with the diamond hands formation. But yeah. Oh wait, where'd the market end? Wait, did the market go red at the end? Wait, what? Wait, did the market turn red at the end? I literally just saw it red. Wait a second. Weren't we like up like 0.7% or wait? Did we just like have a massive sell? Wait, what happened at the end of the day? That's like a nice cliff, huh? Okay, let's go knight f6 and knight e4. That's a very ugly chart. Like literally in the last half hour, it's like straight off the cliff. Someone can tell me what the news is. But anyway, let's keep going. All right. Okay. We have h3 play. Now I could put the knight on e4. I can also go knight c8, knight d6. I don't know what Fabiano rumors mean. I'm going to try to put these knights here. I'm going to use the diamond hands formation and try to reinforce everything. The knight on d6 also overprotects the pawn on f5. Okay, let's go here. I've got my own bastion, kind of. Fabiano was with someone when he was 29. What? Wait, what? Whatever, you guys. I mean, whatever. Show me an actual news story. Come on, stop it. That sounds like nonsense. Unless I see an actual link, that sounds like garbage. Seriously, who said that? I should ban someone for saying that. I should ban someone for saying that, actually. Let's go here and trade. That should be a ban. That should be a ban, legitimately. My problem here is the knight on e5. And now I'm gonna have to have my editors edit this. Like, geez. Oh, it was on Reddit? Oh, yay, it was on Reddit. Amazing. Reddit, thank you for that. Thank you for that. It was on Reddit, yes, thank you. Because Reddit is where you go to believe news. If you read Reddit enough, Reddit will probably convince you that I'm literally like the single worst person on the face of the earth. I'm gonna play h5 to clog the toilet so he can't attack on the king side. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay, he goes knight f3, but the good thing is since I've clogged the toilet on the king side, I should be stable here, so he shouldn't be able to attack. So it's all going to come down to whether white can open up the queen side. Very reminiscent of the other game I played where I have to be very prepared for c4 here. Yeah. Yeah, not funny, you guys. Not funny. Yeah, not funny. I'm going to go b5 to stop c4 here. You don't get all your news from Reddit? Yeah, thank you. Give me a break. Okay, now what I have to be very careful of here is I'm very worried about the c4 break. Yeah, I mean, I really don't find it funny. Sorry, it's not funny. Do I waste time playing chess? No, I don't actually. Like, I don't play chess off stream. Yeah, he's really trying hard to force c4 in, but he's gonna be opening a scope for the b shop too. So I think what I'm gonna do here is step one is to go king h7. I'm gonna go king h7 basically just to get the king away, and I also want to swing the rook so I don't hang the juicer on g6. Yeah. Do you think you're a great chess player? I mean, I'm acceptable. I'm decent. I mean, by pure ability, I mean, or pure ratings, I mean, I'm probably top 20 all time, but I don't really put myself up at the top. So yeah. There's king h2. Problem here is, what do I do? I'm gonna go a6 to protect pawn. I'm really worried about my position. I don't like my position here for some reason. Like, it's very, very hard. I want to go here, but then he's knight d7 and knight f6 to fork me. I mean, I'm decent, but like, I would just say, like, if you ask me where I would rank myself, I mean, there are plenty of people who are better than me. Like, I mean, I would say my top four, I've said it many times, are Magnus. You can say Magnus or Gary, whatever, they're interchangeable. Magnus Carlsen, Gary Kasparov, and then Bobby Fischer. Easily the top three. Easily. No questions there. I think number four for me, I don't know if I would say it's Karpov or Anand, but one of those two guys. Either way, they're 4 and 5, Karpov and Anand. And then I'd say there's still probably at least like another 3 or 4 that I'd rank ahead of me right off. Okay, I'm gonna go here to pressure the pawn on d4. Not Kramnik. Oh, I forgot about, well, Kramnik's in that next generation. I mean, I can't put Kramnik that high just because Anand's still very competitive at what, 50? Vishy is what, like 54, 53? I mean, he's still a good player, like legitimately a good player. And I bet that if Vishy played online, he would actually do better in Title Tuesday than Kramnik does, even though he's a good 6 to 7 years older. Let's go here and hit the pawn on d4. Do I think Capablanca is better? Kappa's up there too. I would say there's Kappa, there's Botvinnik. Well, Botvinnik, it's hard to judge because most of that's based on like the whole system he devised in Soviet Russia. But I mean, I'd probably put Kappa, Botvinnik, and Kappa, Botvinnik, and someone else in the next tier. Let's go here on rook c7. I want to play on the file. This guy's also defending incredibly well here. How much time do you spend on chess now versus before you stream, or what do you mean, like actually studying or actually on chess itself? I'm gonna go here. I'm looking to play on the open lane at some point. I want to infiltrate. It's probably a good move. I'm gonna go here, try to pressure pawn d4. I've done a tier list of top players. I mean, I study a lot less chess than I used to, but you know, I'll be honest, God bless Chessable. Chessable is like the best way to be lazy and remain very good at chess. They should probably sponsor me. But yeah, that's what I would say. Simple answer is that Chessable is basically, it's like it allows you to not have to like waste your time studying as much. Take and go. Oh, he goes queen d4. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to sneak in from behind with the queen. I'm gonna go for queen e2 here. Yeah, I'm trying to sneak in from behind. I think now he's getting mated. Go here, and now I just win. Next game, let's go.